Tony Livesey on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Well, good morning, everybody. Don't forget, Dotton's on the way at 1 o'clock. Before then, though, we've got a lot for you. It is now officially Wednesday, the 19th of November. The day in 1930 that the musical Smiles with Bob Hope and Fred Astaire premiered in New York. The day in 1994 that Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Sunset Boulevard opened on Broadway for a run of 977 performances. And it's the day in 2005 that the film adaptation of Jonathan Larson's musical Rent premiered.
How do you document real life when real life's getting
A little bit of Rent for you there. You may have noted there's been quite a focus on musicals in this week's intro. That's because the theme for this week's Midnight Musicology is notable songs from musical theatre. It is time to summon Dr. Beat. Well, that's what we call him. I don't know if his students dare, actually. We might ask him now. Professor Joe Bennett joins us from Berklee College of Music in Boston. He's the man people turn to when they want to know about similarities between songs. He gets involved in some very high-profile court cases, but he finds time to come on here every week with a different musical theme for us to investigate. And well, he also has a Soundslike for us, which is going to be fascinating tonight. He has a quiz for us as well. But let's say hello to Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hello there, Tony. Good to speak to you.
Do you get a bit of Dr. Beat round campus or not? Don't they go there?
Professor or prof, usually
Yes.
they just say... a lot of students don't really call you anything. I mean, we have something like 40% international students at Berklee, so people come from lots of different cultures. I draw the line at sir, though. I say, no, really, I'm not going there with sir.
Yeah, I'm a commoner garden prof, if you don't mind. So Joe, we've touched on it already earlier in the show, but people join us at midnight. A lot of people join us at midnight. So explain to us the theme tonight.
Well, yeah, so as you said, we're going to be talking about songs from musical theatre. So every song that we listen to tonight, most of them have actually been pop hits in their own right, but all of them have their origins in musical theatre. And, every now and then we have a theme on the show that touches on musical theatre, whether it's, heartbreak songs and something happens to come from a show or whatever. And we always get a lot of text. So this is a show for those people who have favourite shows and who really know their musical theatre lore. And those people are, of course, going to do very well in the quiz tonight.
Yeah, there's already requests coming in. I mean, we'll just have to see if they're on your list, but people are naming their significant music from the musical. So we'll get to those a little bit later on, those texts, because we have a lot to pack in tonight. Let's start with the quiz, though. Joe, we need to give people a heads up because it can be difficult, so they need a few hours thinking time. So explain the quiz and take us through it.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some excerpts from musicals that were written between the 30s and the noughties. And there's 6 questions, and I'm going to give you a little info on the timeline, and I'm going to give you a one-sentence summary of the plot to give you an extra clue. But we're looking for the song and the name of the musical. So 6 questions, possible 12 points.
Okay, let's go for it.
So they're very famous, so I'm going to be playing them backwards to disguise them as ever. For number 1, this is a musical from the first half of the 20th century. And the plot summary is: a mother sings hope into a life overshadowed by hardship. And here is the backwards example, number 1. For number 2, this is one from the 1950s, very famous musical. Two lovers dare to dream while their divided streets prepare for a fight. And we're looking for the song.
Yeah.
I think Paul's got that one. He's looking very excited.
Yeah,
there.
I've got He loves his musical theatre. I've got the musical.
I've got
I don't
the
know the
musical
song
as well. I don't know the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
So for number 3, this is from the 70s, and this is a story about a shy New Yorker. And here's a bit of backwards audio. For number 4, this is also from the 70s, and it's the story of a showgirl.
Thought I had it.
That was, well, the first three things you heard, which are of course the last 3 there, because it's backwards, was the title of the song.
Oh, I've got it then.
So
Yeah, I've got
last
that
4
one.
words. If you can say those words backwards. Yeah. So for number 5, this is from the 90s, and the kingdom gathers as the young heir is introduced. And finally, for number 6, that was very short, that one, wasn't it? For number 6, this is from 2002, and the plot summary is teen rebellion erupts over who gets to dance in public. So there we go. Wow. 6 shows.
It's tough.
6 big hits.
Yeah, some of them are short. And also, it's interesting because the people who love to enter the quiz and often get it right are those that know their pop music like the back of their hand. Will they know music from the musicals? That's going to be really interesting tonight. Right, so we'll recap that before the end of the show, so you get another go at that. But we must plough on. So let's get straight into it. The first song we're going to look at tonight, Joe, probably better known for being sung on the terraces at Anfield, actually, rather than a musical.
Walk on through the wind. Walk on through the rain. For your dreams be tossed and blown.
So that is the classic by Gerry and the Pacemakers, Joe, but that's not the version you're going to talk about tonight.
No, well, it is very famous, and we couldn't talk about You'll Never Walk Alone without playing Jerry Marsden singing it. But yeah, the version I thought we should really listen to is from 1959, and this is the extraordinary Nina Simone version.
Well, I'll put my hand up. I was expecting her to sing. There she is, presumably playing the piano there, Nina Simone, Joe.
Yeah, I really wanted to big up Nina Simone, the pianist, because she's such an extraordinary musician. You know, a lot of people will know, you know, songs like Feeling Good and I Put a Spell on You, and they're all stone cold classics. But she was a classically trained pianist, and she just, you know, eats You'll Never Walk Alone for breakfast there. It's an extraordinary piano arrangement. It's not actually very good quality because it was recorded live, and it's from her album Little Girl Blue. But if you can listen past the slightly distorted microphone from the location recording that they did, it's an amazing piano performance. But yeah, so the song, as maybe not every Anfield going fan knows, is actually from musical theatre from the 40s, and it's from the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical Carousel, which is the story of Billy Bigelow, a charismatic but troubled carousel barker, and his impulsive choices destroy his marriage to the hopeful mill worker Julie, and then after he dies, he's granted a chance to return to Earth for one day, and he tries to make amends and help the daughter he never knew, and looking for redemption. There's always redemption in musical theatre, so it's a really big emotional number. It appeals twice in the musical, including once from the character from Beyond the Grave, and it's a really emotional bit of the story, but it's about believing in yourself and being there for those you love, and hanging in there when times are tough. It's one of those songs so suitably rousing for a football anthem as well.
Adopted by so many football clubs around the world, but also I note here it says as well covered by Elvis on an album in 1967. What made that tune particularly so much of a standout in that musical, do you think, Joe?
It's a really weird song. It's constantly building. I mean, the Pacemakers version that we heard there, let's grab a guitar here, it starts in C, and it's when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high. And so you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a kind of a regular one key pop song, and don't be afraid of the dark, and then the chords just get weirder. At the end of a storm there's a golden sky, and it actually changes key halfway through the verse, but the whole song is a kind of a dynamic ramp. It's constantly building, and it starts so sort of low, way below middle C in the Pacemakers version, and it just builds to this pitch and dynamic crescendo, which again, I mean, who can say why a song captures the public imagination? But certainly the really unusual, memorable melody and the fact that it builds to this pitch crescendo, I think must be part of it. Why it feels so good to sing on the terraces.
Yeah, I'm conscious we've got a load to get in, but just one very quick question. Richard Rodgers, then the man behind this, was this ahead of its time, do you feel, or I don't know, was it of the moment, 1945?
It doesn't sound to me like, how can I put it? It doesn't give me Oklahoma vibes. It doesn't have that mid 20th century musical feel to it. It sort of, and certainly even within Carousel, it sort of stands out. And as I say, for me, it's about the slightly odd chords and the use of modulations. But ahead of its time, yeah, I think that might be fair to say. It certainly made it past its time. It became a hit almost 20 years after the musical was released.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a tune that's lived on. So that's our starting point. The next song is from the musical A Little Night Music.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair, sending the clowns. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. Where are the clowns? Send in the clowns. Just when I'd stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours.
That is a beautiful tune, and A Little Night Music, the music it comes from, is an adaptation of Ingmar Bergman's 1955 film. It says here, I don't know this stuff, Smiles of a Summer Night. Why have you chosen this one, Joe?
Well, it's another of those crossover hits that we talked about. It's famous in musical theatre, and it's a rare example of a Stephen Sondheim hit record, because obviously he was and is hugely respected in the world of musical theatre. But as he said himself, he wrote a terrific book called "Finishing the Hat" about his songwriting process, and he wasn't regretful at all that he didn't have pop hits. But this was was one of them. So the version we heard there, as you say, it's from the musical A Little Night Music. That was the sort of pop crossover version by Barbra Streisand, released in 1985. But it's a great song, and particularly it's a great lyric. So it's sung by the character, it's in Act 2, and it's sung by the character Desiree, and she's a famous middle-aged actress, and she spent her life moving from town to town, juggling lovers and avoiding commitment. And then she connects with her former lover, Frederick, who's now married to a much younger woman. She realizes very late in life that what she wanted all along was a stable, loving relationship. And so this song is a sort of a bittersweet reflection on the tragedy of that. She's lived her life sort of thrill seeking and realized what she wanted was there all along, that they've collided at exactly the wrong time. But it's a great musical. It does come around from time to time. You even see Amdram productions of it, which is quite a feat for an Amdram company to pull it off, because it's a tricky score. And it's a great story. I recommend people go and see the original musical if the only thing you've heard about it so far is that song.
Was that Glynis Johns singing that clip? Do you know?
So that was that particular one we recorded. I think was the Barbra Streisand version.
Oh, okay,
because
I knew she'd done it.
Yeah. So, but Sondheim actually is on the record as saying that he wrote it specifically for Glynis Johns, who originated the role of Desiree on the Broadway production in the 70s. In fact, I've got a quote here from Stephen Sondheim, quote, "Glynis had a lovely crystal voice, but sustaining notes was not her thing. So I wanted to write short phrases, so I wrote a song full of questions."
All right, bespoke. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, look, we'll move swiftly on. It was inevitable. It was inevitable this musical would feature now. Most people will be wondering what songs he chosen. So if you do like songs about French anti-monarchist insurrections, then this might be the tune for you.
One more day before the storm,
I follow where she goes.
at the barricades of freedom.
Shall I join my brothers there?
When our ranks begin to fall,
Do I stay? Do I dare?
will you take your place with me? The time is now. The day is here.
One day more.
One day more to revolution. We will nip it in the bud. We'll be ready for these schoolboys. They will wet themselves with blood. Watch them run amok.
Catch him as a fool.
Never know your luck when there's a free-for-all. Here's a little dip.
Very little touch.
Most of them are gone, so they won't miss much.
My place is here. I fight with you. One day more.
We will join these people's heroes. We will go where they go. We will.
Oh, I mean, I saw Les Mis in, I think it was 88 in London. It had not been on long, for just 2 or 3 years, I think, then when I saw it. I'd love to see it again. Lots of people texting in about that tonight.
Yeah, not just that song, but other ones as well. Ruth in Cumbria says that if you're talking about a game-changing musical theatre song that changed the course of the genre, do they hear the people sing from Les Mis? It's the opening song, which includes the entire company except the principals and has the most incredible build-in sound. I'd say it's unique.
Well, there we go. Joe, One Day More from Les Mis. Why have you chosen that one today?
Well, yes, yeah, and actually, that's a very good point. That opening number is killer. It really sets the scene. Another dynamic ramp. It just gets bigger and bigger and more exciting. Heck of a way to open the show. So, One Day More is from Les Miserables, and that version that we heard was from the movie soundtrack album, on which more in a moment. But if there's anyone out there who's never seen it or just doesn't know the story, it's the story of ex-convict Jean Valjean and his lifelong quest for redemption, and he's pursued by Inspector Javert in revolutionary turmoil in 19th century France, and it's various intertwining stories of love, sacrifice, justice, and rebellion. And Valjean protects those he loves, leaving to Javert's collapse in faith and Valjean's final peace. But that song comes at a pivotal moment in the story. And one reason I chose it is, apart from the fact that it's one of the most popular songs from the whole musical, is pretty much every main character has a line in it. So the significance of One Day More is everyone is thinking about the important thing that's going to happen tomorrow and how they prepare for it. So each character gets their moment of, so Valjean has learned that Javert is closing in and he plans to flee with Cosette. Cosette and Marius are in love but unsure what will not happen next. I've got to say, Tony, I wish I had time to summarize the whole plot, because there's a lot of plot in Les Mis, as I'm sure you know, having seen it.
I've read the book. It adds another 2 foot to my height if I stood on it. It's a great book.
There's a lot in it, absolutely. So there's a lot going on in the story at this point. But as an audio nerd, the extra thing that I love about that recording is it was recorded with the actors actually singing on set. Because, shooting a movie of a musical is a massive technical undertaking. And obviously you have to lip sync pretty much everything and then record it and pre-record it in the studio. In the particular movie adaptation, the actors actually had hidden microphones and hidden earpieces that were feeding them a piano part of accompaniment so they could sing and sing live and be recorded. And then they dubbed the orchestra part on after it, which is a really unusual way to do a musical soundtrack. And then they fixed a few things in the studio afterwards. But it leads to that particular, I think, then sense of authenticity, which is, I think, one reason why the movie was well received.
Indeed, and the production as well, the stage production. Now it's broken records all over the place, Joe, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the most successful musicals of all time. I think the London production, in my research, I think it did more than 15,000 performances. And in Broadway, it premiered in 1987 and it ran until 2003, did almost 7,000 performances. So, yeah, it's huge all over the world. It is a brand in itself.
It says here, and I know we've just run an item on questioning yourself when it comes to AI, but I'm told 52 countries it's been performed in and seen by over 120 million people. Worldwide, which is going some. Right, this next one is from a musical that was a huge hit last year when adapted for the big screen.
And I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. I know it sounds truly crazy. And true, the vision's hazy. But I swear someday there'll be a celebration throughout Oz. It's all to do with me. And I'll stand there with a wizard, feeling things that never failed. And though I'd never show it, I'd be so happy I could melt. And so it will be for the rest of my life. And I'll want nothing else till I die, held in such high esteem. When people see me, they will scream for half of Oz's favorite team, the Wizard and
Sounds like a bit of a showstopper. I read the book that it inspired this, and I want as happy as I want with Les Mis anyway. Joe, take us through Wicked.
Well, yes, You wouldn't want a small ending in musical theatre, would you? that was a lot. So that was The Wizard and I, and and in the story, it's where Elphaba, who later becomes in The Wizard of Oz, becomes the Wicked Witch of the West, and Elphaba has just been enrolled at Shiz University and demonstrating her magical powers. So it's about sort of coming out of yourself, expressing yourself, and so on. So the musical, again, for those who don't know it, it's about the early lives of Elphaba and Glinda, later the Good Witch of the North, and it details how Elphaba came to be labelled the Wicked Witch of the West, while Glinda becomes the Good Witch. And in fact, I always do a lot of fact checking because I know there's always a Five Live listener who's more of a fan than me of whatever the thing is that we're featuring. So I just looked up the origin of the Elphaba character, and I only learned today, which I'll share now with the listeners, why she's called Elphaba. I'm sure the true super fans will know. And it comes from L. Frank Baum, the author of the original Wizard of Oz.
Okay,
Elphaba.
Yeah.
It's a phonetic spelling. So I only learned that today. I thought I'd pass that on.
No, that's good. Good fact.
So I actually wrote about this song because I've always been interested in sound-alikes, and I wrote about this song in my PhD thesis, weirdly enough, because just before the section that we heard there, there's a quieter moment where Elphaba sings the line "Unlimited, my future is unlimited." And that's called the Unlimited Theme, written by Stephen Schwartz, who wrote the whole musical. It's in G flat, and I'll just play a bit of that melody on guitar here. It goes. Unlimited, together we're unlimited. So that theme appears at various times during the musical, and it is Stephen Schwartz's tricky little Soundslike. It's a melodic quote from Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but he changed the rhythmic values. So that melody again, let me play it for you really slow. Whoops, last note. So it's da 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 da. Unlimited, together we're... And Stephen Schwartz actually had the mistaken belief that you were only allowed to copy 7 notes from an earlier song before you were sued. So he copied exactly 7 notes from Somewhere Over the Rainbow, thinking it would be fine. And it was fine, nobody sued him. But I love that little Easter egg that he put in there for the fans.
Yeah, what's the real rule there? You can't take 7, you can't take any without permission, or you can have 8.
There is no rule. There is no rule. This is why we have to pay musicologists, because every case is different, and you have to figure out in actual court cases, did copying happen, and quotes, was it too much? And those questions get horribly complicated, as you can imagine.
Well, absolutely, and as you know only too well. Right, okay, so we go from Wicked to, and this is a show I wish I'd seen, a bit of British royal history now. Don't Lose Your Head from the musical 6.
Grew up in the French court, oui, bonjour, life was a chore, so she set sail. 1522 came straight to the UK, all the British dudes lame. Epic fail. Ooh, I wanna dance and sing. Politics, not my thing. Ooh, but then I met the king, and soon my daddy said, you should try and get ahead. He wanted me, obviously, kept messaging me like every day. Couldn't be better than he sent me a letter, and who am I kidding, I was prêt à manger. Ooh, sent a reply, ooh, just saying hi. Ooh, you're a nice guy, I'll think about it maybe, XO baby. Uh-oh. Here we go. You sent him kisses? I didn't know I would move in with his missus. What? Get a life. You're living with his wife? Like, what was I meant to do? Sorry, not sorry about what I said. I'm just trying to have some fun. Don't worry, don't lose your head. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. LOL, say oh well, or go to hell. I'm sorry, not sorry about what I said. Don't lose your head. 3 in the bed and the little one said, if you wanna be wed, make up your mind.
Well, an ultra-modern take there on an age-old story. For those who don't know, what is Six about, Joe?
Okay, well, the 6 of the title refers to the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And in this brilliant musical from 2017, they're cast as pop performers in a sort of an X Factor type Britain's Got Talent sort of singing contest setup. And they're trying to figure out who had the worst marriage to Henry, and so each one of them tells their story, and that particular one, that Don't Lose Your Head, is Anne Boleyn, and she was Henry VIII's second wife. I bet everyone can remember Divorce, what is it? Divorce,
beheaded, survived. Divorce, beheaded,
died.
What?
Survived. Yes.
Who?
You die first, then you survive last.
Divorce, beheaded,
died.
Divorce, beheaded, survived.
Right.
Okay.
So Anne Boleyn was
who are we talking
Henry's
about?
second
Oh, the wives. Yeah, Anne Boleyn. Yeah. Well,
so yes, Anne Boleyn,
Yes.
whose character was singing there, was basically telling her story of how she, as the younger woman, sort of usurped in Henry's affections from Catherine of Aragon, his first wife, and it tells a lot of the historical plot. But what I enjoyed actually, looking at that. That lyric, because the whole idea was it was a sort of street talk update on this ancient story from the 1500s, and some of the, even though it was only 2017, some of the language in there is already starting to date. When she says XO baby, do people still say XO? Do people still say sorry, not sorry?
Yeah.
So, youth speak moves really fast. And in 2017, this was absolutely up to the minute. It's still a great musical, and I do recommend people get to see it.
Well, Marina in Somerset's just messaged saying 6 is definitely worth seeing, Tony. After hearing that song, I want to see it more now. I enjoyed that.
Well, it's in the same vein as Hamilton. You get a real, genuine history lesson out of it, as well as enjoying the tracks.
Yeah, and I didn't know this just before we moved to the final track. First performed at the Edinburgh Fringe by students from Cambridge University. So a lo-fi opening, really, for this.
Yeah, actually, and my co-researcher who helps me put the show together, John, who's based in London, he was saying he was out drinking with them all. He was at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe in 2017, and they were swapping show talk. So yeah, really, it's a real rags to riches story as a successful musical.
I fancy seeing that. So that's one for my diary. Right, final one, because I know the Soundslike tonight. There's loads in it, so we're going to get to that on time. So the last show tune for us to discuss tonight is from the musical. You can tell us about it before we hear the tune, Joe. Dear Evan Hansen.
Okay, so let's set up the story. So, Dear Evan Hansen, the musical, came out in 2015, premiered on Broadway in 2016. Dear Evan Hansen is the title of a letter that forms the emotional core of the story. So Evan is a sort of anxious and isolated teenager, and he goes into therapy. And the therapist gives him a task, which is write a letter to yourself, comforting yourself as part of your therapy. And he does this. But through plot machinations, the letter appears in the pocket of another student who then takes his own life. And the parents then find this Dear Evan Hansen letter in his coat pocket, and they think that it was written by the kid who's passed away. And so the parents think that Evan was his best buddy, even though he didn't really know the guy. So then Evan has to live with this lie, and how much he will reveal about the lie is what sort of carries the emotional engine of the plot and Evan's journey toward confidence. So this song, this is the big hit from the show, is a song called Waving Through a Window. Let's take a listen.
I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. Give them no reason to stare, no slipping up if you slip away. So I got nothing to share, no, I got nothing to say. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass.
There we go. That's Waving Through a Window from the musical Dear Evan Hansen. What's caught your ear about that, Joe?
Well, there's a thing in musical theatre that when it was pointed out to me a few years ago, I thought, of course. And the thing in musical theatre is Act 1 always has an I want song. It's when the main character says, usually to the audience, if only I could have whatever it is, and then the rest of the story is their quest for whatever it is, for love, redemption, confidence. So famously in The Wizard of Oz, for example, it's Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that Dorothy is dreaming of a land that she once heard of where exciting things happen, and this is Evans, the title character's, this is his I want song. He's socially isolated in high school. He's very anxious, and he ends up with this fictional relationship that he has to defend for a lot of the story and deal with the deception. But the window is a metaphor. He's waving through a window at life, trying to get through the glass, trying to participate in life, but his anxiety is preventing him. So he wants to participate. So it's quite a sort of a deep subject for a musical. It's not simply I'm looking for love and then I find it and everything's fine. It's actually dealing with Evan's internal struggles, and it became a massively successful musical. That recording was from 2017, and that was the mighty Ben Platt who originated the role and reprised it for the 2021 movie. And just as in that short section we heard, you could feel it was like building to massive chorus versions of the same section, and it does indeed get huger and huger towards the end. So,
Dear Evan Hansen ends our journey through the musicals. This text here says, great. These people answered the quiz. Thanks so much for tonight. Going to musicals has been a huge part of my life recently, especially Hamilton, brackets 7 times. And I'm off to see Fiddler on the Roof on Saturday for the second. I still can't get the answers to the quiz, though, whoever sent that in. But people are answering the quiz. We need to give them a quick reprise of the quiz now before we do the Soundslike, Joe. So are you ready to run through them again?
Let's do it. Absolutely. There are 6 questions. I'll give you a little bit of information about when the musical came out and a little bit about the story. So the first one is from the first half of the 20th century. What the heck, I'll make it easy. It's from the 30s. And the setup is a mother sings hope into a life overshadowed by hardship. Name the song, name the musical. For number 2, this musical came out in the 1950s, and 2 lovers dream while their divided streets prepare for a fight. I think that gives the musical away. Here's the song. You don't need much of that, I don't think. It's in Act 1 and later. For number 3, this musical came out in 1970. This is actually Tony Bennett singing, I'll tell you that. And it's a story of a commitment-shy New Yorker. For number 4, this musical came out in 1975. The first 4 words that you will hear in this backwards version are the title of the song. and it's a story of a showgirl. So listen carefully to the backwards audio. So it was right there. It was right there. The first four things you hear. For number 5, this is a musical from the 90s, still going strong. And the story is A Kingdom Gathers as the young heir is introduced. And finally, number 6, this song came from a musical released in 2002. And the plot outline is teen rebellion erupts over who gets to dance in public. So 6 songs, 6 musicals.
It's amazing how easy it is when all the answers are in front of you. I mean, listeners have been sending them in.
People are struggling, though, tonight. You called it, you said a lot of these pop experts would be struggling in musical theatre. Number 3, particularly, there's only one person that's had a swing at all 12 answers. Even Benny hasn't got a guess for number 3. No. That's how bad it is.
Well, what are the numbers if people want to have a go, Paul?
Oh, yeah, it's 85058 on the text or 08085 909 693.
And hello to Carol in Glasgow, who's just messaged saying, wide awake after the footy and singing my head off to the great show tunes. Love this bit of the show. Great show as always, Tony. So Carol's enjoying it. Brilliant. Right, Joe, we move on to Soundslike. Now, this always blows my brain in one way or another. What's going on tonight?
Okay. Well, this is just one, a lot of the time the Five Live listeners text in and I've learned some terrific similarities through that process. This is just one that randomly came onto my Spotify a couple of weeks ago. And the song was Gordon Lightfoot's If You Could Read My Mind, which is a song I've always loved, and that's probably why the algorithm served it to me. And I'll play you just a little bit of it and then see if the listeners can figure out what Whitney Houston song I'm thinking of.
Just like an old time movie about a ghost from a wishing well, in a castle dark or a fortress strong with chains upon my feet. You know that ghost is me, and I will never be set free as long as I'm a ghost you can't see.
So that was the section we were listening to, that, and I will never be set free. That little section of melody. And the track that came to my mind was the pre-chorus of Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston.
I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadows. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity.
All right. Yes. There we go. That is Whitney Houston. I don't know whether have we got. He's frozen on my screen, Joe. This could be the shortest sounds like ever.
You can't take away a dignity, but you can take away a Zoom link. By the sounds of things. We can't fill for this. We've got to get him back.
It's all right. We can't fill for 11 minutes on this. I can't sing like Whitney Houston.
I wouldn't know how to start.
Joe, are you there?
Oh, and I think we had an internet snafu.
We did. We're back on. So we did hear.
Back on,
we did hear that, and I definitely got the similarity there. Yeah.
Okay.
So
good.
That's
good.
What, it's
so
just ended now.
Apologies for my internet service provider letting me down there. So the section, of course, was that melodic section, and they've got similar chords. They're in the same key. They're a similar tempo. So when I started researching this, I thought, they'll line up, they'll sort of mash up together, it'll be quite interesting. And then a little Googling led me to an interview with Simon Le Bon, who himself said, I always loved that song, If You Could Read My Mind by Gordon Lightfoot. So much so that I copied a little bit of the melody and adapted it a little for my song, Save a Prayer. So I went to listen to Save a Prayer by Duran Duran, and to see if I could figure out the similarities, see if the listeners can hear it.
Don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after. No, don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after.
So I really couldn't hear it really, other than the da 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 da, that sort of semitone thing going on, which is meh. There's not a lot to it. So if he did, and he said he did use it as an inspiration, he adapted it. But he also said that that inspired not one but two Duran Duran songs. So going back to Gordon Lightfoot, let me just play you a little bit of the melody again.
Just like an old time movie about a ghost from a wishing well.
So it's that second line, da 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 da, which Simon Le Bon repurposed in "Hungry Like the Wolf" for do 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 do. So here's a bit of that. Let's see if we can hear it. About a ghost and a wishing. Well, you can sort of see where he's coming from. So we've got an extreme similarity, I would say, with Whitney Houston. It's a long section, something like 4 bars. We've got a little fragment in Save a Prayer, and that Hungry Like the Wolf, do 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 do. So I wondered whether it would be possible to mash them.
Yes,
all
I love a mashup. Here we go.
And my biggest worry, of course, Tony, was it's going to be a long title because we're mashing up 4 songs. So I'm going to call this one, If You Can Read a Prayer to the Greatest Wolf of All. And here's my attempt at mashing them all up. 1 minute and 5 of nerdiness. Here it goes.
If I could read your mind, love,
and just like breathing even closer behind,
about a ghost from a wishing well.
I decided long ago,
As long as I'm a ghost, you can't see.
don't say a prayer for me now.
And I will never be set free.
they can't take away my dignity.
Morning after, no, don't say a prayer for me now. Save it till the morning after.
So there you go. 4 hours of editing, 1 minute of radio.
Yeah.
4 hours.
But you're like a musical wizard. Your ear is impeccable, and then suddenly it all becomes clear to all of us. It's fantastic, that, Joe.
Amazing.
Well, the
Absolutely
songwriter,
brilliant.
thank you, Simon Le Bon, for owning up to it.
Yeah.
I
Hey, and did he
appreciate
pay up, Simon Le Bon? Do we know? Did he?
Well, it's such a subtle and so heavily adapted. I don't think he would have needed to, but it's nice that he admitted it. I don't think pop stars today would be too cautious to do so.
Yeah, no. Well, it's nice to credit where credit's due. That's good. Right, we've got a few texts in, so we'll get to those at the end of the show. I think we need to give the quiz answers now, though, Joe, because people have had a go. It's a tough one tonight because some of them are quite short.
Yeah, they are short, and it's because these musicals are so well known. In fact, I'm going to give a clue for number 3, just for any last minute texters.
Yeah, all right.
Number 3 is a Stephen Sondheim musical.
Okay.
So that might help people to narrow it down to the early 70s Sondheim musicals, of which there are not many. And it's one of the most famous songs from that musical.
Well,
that might help.
Yeah, if you want to get a last second one in, it's 85058. If you want to rattle it in now, if you've already had a go but you missed out number 3, have a go. So take us through them, Joe, at your own speed. Let's have a listen to the answers.
Sure. So number 1 was from 1935. The musical was Porgy and Bess. It was George Gershwin's Mighty Summertime. Should have sounded like this.
Summertime.
So the clue there was the da-da-da, which is the same forwards as it is backwards. And I think the clue probably for number 2 would have given people the musical Two Lovers Dream While Their Divided Streets Prepare for a Fight. The musical, of course, West Side Story, and the song Tonight.
Tonight, it all began tonight. I saw you and
Blimey, she was intonating, wasn't she? Tonight.
Yeah, yes, very clear.
Yeah.
So the one I just gave the clue for those last minute texters, Stephen Sondheim's musical was Company, came out in 1970, and the song that was Tony Bennett singing Being Alive.
Being alive. Being alive.
For number 4, the musical was Chicago from 1975, and those last 4 words that you heard sung backwards were jazz, that, all, and.
it's just a noisy hall where there's a nightly brawl and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I think it had a fighting chance there. For number 5, we're in the 90s, specifically 1994. The outline was A Kingdom Gathers as the young heir is introduced. If I'd said the young heir was called Simba, everyone would have got Circle of Life from The Lion King.
It's the circle of life, and it moves us all.
And finally, from 2002, maybe not as famous, but a really good musical. From 2002, the musical was Hairspray, and the song You Can't Stop the Beat.
'Cause you can't stop the beat. Ever since this whole world began, a woman found out that she shake up a man. So I'm gonna shake and shake.
So, did anyone get what was the highest score tonight?
The high score was 6, so 12, I beg your pardon, but it was only one person got all. Benny came close, he got 10 out of 12, but it was Neil in Chester.
It always is. He's amazing. And to be fair to Neil, in true countdown style, he sent a drawing of his working out. So there's no. Well, you make it
Neil picks up every clue. Every clue I say on the radio, Neil writes it down and uses it as his sleuthing. It's amazing.
And he's got nice kitchen units. We've already established that.
Yeah,
but
nice
you make it non-shenanigable, don't you, Joe? We must point that out. You slow it down and play with it so it's not Shazamable.
And also the excerpts are very short, and Shazam doesn't like that. No. So, we try and stop people doing that.
Well, it's great. We've had loads of praise for it tonight. Everyone's loved it.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Lots of love on the text, as you'd expect, and particularly for that sound alike as well. That people have been loving that. So thank you very, very much.
Oh, well, I'll maybe try and put that on my Instagram. So it's at Joe Bennett Musicology for people who are out there on the gram.
Yes, if people want to suggest them. And John in Great Kimble sends a message. He says, especially for Dr. Beat, I've just finished a dress rehearsal for Parade. Are any of the songs in this mind-blowing show like anything else? JRB's Parade. Who's JRB?
I don't know.
Brown a Musical Parade? I don't know. Anyway, it's made me want to go and see Six, and it's made me want to go and see Les Mis again. And it's made me have very, very many happy memories of seeing South Pacific and all the musicals I've seen in my life. Joe, it's been a pleasure tonight, mate.
A whole lot of fun. Look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thanks a lot. Speak to you next Tuesday. There we go. Professor Joe Bennett from the Berklee School of Music. Dr. Beat. As ever, that's every Tuesday from 12 till 1. If you miss it, you can rewind it on BBC Sounds as well. Paul, thanks for your company tonight.
Tony.
Well done, Scotland. Well done, Wales. We'll do it all again tomorrow from 10:30. Love you all. Don's up next.